For the 60th time, the NASCAR stock cars will awaken on the Daytona high banks for their season opener, the Daytona 500. Born from a dream on the beaches of Daytona, the first race was so close it took 3 days to name the eventual winner, Lee Petty. The Daytona 500 has always been about close competition and daredevil moves. Last year, Kurt Busch in his brand new Ford for Stewart Haas Racing outlasted the competition and took his first Daytona 500 victory. This year, Busch and 38 other drivers have answered the call and will race for a place on the Harley J. Earl Trophy. This is a Bandwagoner's guide to the 60th running of the Daytona 500. Let's start with the winning team of last year, Stewart Haas Racing, and the defending champion of Kurt Busch, who, if you can believe it, was on thin ice with the team in the offseason, and there were questions of whether he would return. But a repeat Daytona 500 victory may smooth things over. Teammate Kevin Harvick is the 2007 champion, while Clint Bowyer's claim to fame at Daytona is getting upside down, and Eric Almirola joins the team, replacing Danica Patrick in the number 10. Almirola has a victory at Daytona, but it was in a rain-shortened July race. Having won NASCAR's regular season points championships and their playoffs, one could call Martin Truex Jr. NASCAR's first undisputed champion. But Truex is still looking for the trophy that eluded him by the blink of an eye in 2016. The winds of change are blowing in NASCAR, and no team exemplifies it more than Hendrick Motorsports. The team's consistent rock, Jimmy Johnson, returns with an out-of-character black paint scheme. Two-time pole sitter and Daytona dual winner Chase Elliott has renumbered his Napa Chevrolet to number 9, emulating his father, Awesome Bill from Dawsonville. Taking over Elliott's number 24 is rookie standout and Xfinity Series champion William Byron. And after filling the massive shoes of Dale Earnhardt Jr. so well in 2016, Alex Bowman has been awarded a full-time job driving the '88 Nationwide Chevrolet. Watch out for Roush Fenway Racing. 2011 Daytona 500 champion Trevor Bayne is paired with the most successful plate racing driver of the last year, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Both drivers have strong credentials to get Roush back in Daytona victory lane. Team Penske expands to a 3-car operation this year. One of the best plate racers of his generation, Brad Keselowski, sports new colors from Discount Tire. 2015 Daytona 500 champion Joey Logano is unchanged in his paint scheme, and their new teammate Ryan Blaney, moving over from the Wood Brothers, sports the nuclear banana Menard Yellow. But wait, if Blaney has Menard sponsorship, where is Paul Menard? Well, in a complicated set of business moves, Team Penske gets Ryan Blaney from the Wood Brothers and Menards from RCR, while the Wood Brothers keep their Penske affiliation and welcome their new driver, Paul Menard. Now, while some may scoff at this partnership, Menard has proven on more than one occasion to be more than serviceable. He could surprise come race time. Penske's strongest rival, Chip Ganassi Racing, is back with their usual pair of drivers. 2010 champion Jamie McMurray hasn't really seen that level of success in the past 8 years, but his aggressive driving style always makes him a threat for victory, if he can stay out of the walls, of course. While Kyle Larson was only 1 lap away from winning this race last year. If he can put together 200 clean laps, there's a good chance that Larson will put new full-time sponsor Credit One in victory lane. The powerhouse Joe Gibbs Racing Toyotas are led by Kyle Busch in the M&M's Camry. Busch was strong last year but was eliminated when a right rear tire blew, causing a crash. The winner of the closest Daytona 500 in history, Denny Hamlin, is back to try for his second win. Mexican Daniel Suarez, one of 2 foreign-born drivers in the field, looked very strong at the fall Talladega race before being eliminated in a crash. And new to the team for 2018, replacing NASCAR legend Matt Kenseth, is second-year man Eric Jones, who showed great promise in a second Furniture Row entry last year. But now that Jones has left the feeder team, it's time to shine in the majors. The lovable mid-pack team JTG Dirty Racing is back and trying to build with their same two drivers from last season. 2015 NASCAR Xfinity champion Chris Buescher and road course ringer AJ Allmendinger, who ironically enough actually has a third place finish in the Daytona 500 back in 2009. One team cutting back for the 2018 season is the Richard Childress Racing Organization. 2014 pole sitter and grandson of the owner of the team, Richard Childress, Austin Dillon will look to bring the famous number 3 back to victory lane for the first time since Dale Earnhardt did it in 1998. And it's hard to believe considering his luck at the plate races since, but Ryan Newman actually won this race in 2008 driving for Roger Penske. And on a semi-unrelated note, when you Google Ryan Newman on Google, you get no pictures of Ryan Newman, the race car driver. Who knew?
Wait, that's what Ryan Newman looks like? He's my new favorite driver!
Get out of here, you half-wit, before people call this video cringy!
Sorry about that. He shows up a lot. While not officially the third RCR team, Germain Racing might as well be, with an RCR Technical Alliance and Ty Dillon in the driver's seat. One of these stories you are going to be hearing about a lot through Speed Weeks 2018 is the second African American to take part in the Daytona 500, following in the footsteps of pioneer Wendell Scott. His name is Darrell Wallace Jr., but his nickname is Bubba. He's a gamer who brings a wealth of Xfinity and Truck Series knowledge to the Cup Series. And after filling in for an injured Eric Almirola last season, Wallace has been given a full season opportunity by the winningest driver in NASCAR history, Richard Petty. Do you want an underdog capable of winning? Look no further than Front Row Motorsports. Michael McDowell has always been sneaky fast on the plate tracks, and this is his first season with the team after moving from Levine Family Racing. And David Reagan is perhaps the driver in the field that can make the most out of the least on the plate tracks. Speaking of Levine Family Racing, this is where we find Kasey Kahne for 2018. Now, before you look at this team's prior results and write Kahne off entirely, you need to know that Kahne has actually been atop the time charts throughout preseason testing. Has this career move reinvigorated Kasey Kahne? We'll find out very shortly. And here's the other story you are going to be hearing a lot about during Speed Weeks. Danica Patrick in her final NASCAR race. The first of 2 races that will end her racing career full stop. It's being called the Danica Double. Patrick will run this race and this race only in a one-off effort sponsored by GoDaddy.com, a famous sponsor of hers from years gone by, and then we'll head to Indianapolis in May for the Indianapolis 500, again sponsored by GoDaddy. And at the end of that race, we'll call it a career. By all accounts, the premium motorsports equipment is not nearly what she's been used to in recent years at Stewart Haas Racing. So the question remains, can the woman who qualified on the 2013 pole at Daytona be competitive in her last run for the Harley J. Earl Trophy? And if she is suddenly competitive again, will it actually be her last NASCAR race? Leave it to one of the most polarizing drivers in the sport's history to leave a lot of open-ended questions. While not officially a teammate for Danica Patrick, the 51 of Rick Ware Racing, driven by Justin Marks, does have a technical alliance with Premium Motorsports. While the Camaro Justin Marks will drive in the Daytona 500 is quite cool, it isn't quite as sleek and sexy as the Acura NSX he helped pilot to 3rd in the Rolex 24 at Daytona. Speaking of drivers who tried their hand at the Rolex 24, Brendan Gaughan found himself behind the wheel of a Multimatic prototype. Gaughan finds himself in much more comfortable circumstances at this particular race at Daytona, behind the wheel of the 62 South Point Beard Oil Camaro. If you like underdogs with a legitimate shot, look no further than Matt DiBenedetto. He got a top 10 in the Daytona 500 last year, and might be on the cusp of a big-time breakthrough. Second-generation driver Corey LaJoie didn't make many friends in his Daytona 500 debut. He should be looking to keep his nose clean this time. Ricky Benton Racing ran Regan Smith in the Truck Series last year. They've made the step a couple rungs up the ladder to the Cup level, and helping bring about the return of longtime driver David Gilliland. Canadian native and fan favorite DJ Kennington will be making his second start in the Daytona 500. His day job is being a superstar in the NASCAR Pinty Series in his native Canada. With the retirement of redneck Jesus himself, Ralph Dale Earnhardt Jr., Jeffrey is the sole heir to the Earnhardt name left racing at Daytona. He drives for a brand new team, Starcom Racing. And rounding out the field is Mark Thompson. Who's Mark Thompson, you may ask? Well, he's the 66-year-old founder of Phoenix Air, and last attempted to qualify for the Daytona 500 in 1993.
We'll start in park.
Actually, that's not fair. Thompson actually qualified on the pole for the ARCA Lucas Oil 200 at Daytona. So hey, anything's possible, right? So after taking a look at the field, who are your picks? Let me know down in the comments below. For the pole position, I am gonna take William Byron. It always seems like the Daytona 500 pole position is a story, and NASCAR sure does like making brand new stars.
He's saying it's rigged.
But for the race win, I need to go out of the Ford camp. And I think the guy that's gonna get it done is Brad Keselowski. He took the victory in the last plate race of last season at Talladega, and with a reinforced Penske effort, now 3 cars, I think that team's going to be super strong. So Keselowski will win the Daytona 500. I'm calling my shot. So thank you guys so much for watching the Bandwagoner's Guide to the 2018 Daytona 500. If you enjoyed this or learned something, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe for more Bandwagoner guides and motorsport content. This has been David Land on YouTube, and we'll see you in the next video.